Hi everyone. So I just showed you how to complete parts 1 and 2 of the activity by doing the Google Sheet simulation with 16 people and the simulation with 4 people. Now, what I'm going to do is show you how to use this Axure app, which is for parts 3 and 4. So once again, this is a simulation of an experiment, and it's just an experiment in which one group gets some type of treatment and the other group gets no type of treatment. And I want you to imagine that this is an experiment on the effect of sugar on memory, and the treatment group is going to receive sugar before taking a memory recall test, and the no treatment group is just going to receive no sugar before getting the recall test. So treatment and no treatment means sugar and no sugar, and every person will get a recall score. And up here, you can set the number of participants for the simulation. Remember that this is going to be a simulated experiment, so it's actually fake. So let's see. Here you have the characteristics of these imaginary 6 people, like their hours of sleep. For example, person 1 got 3 hours of sleep. Um, and then don't worry about randomized variables. Um, so just leave the characteristics alone. But first of all, make sure that this is set to 6 for 6 people. I think it's set to 6 by default. After that, what you go down is you go down to effective treatment. And remember, the treatment in our imaginary experiment is sugar. So what you're going to do here is set the strength of the effect that sugar has on recall. You're going to be setting how much a person's score will improve if they do end up receiving the sugar. So you can set it to any of these numbers for the simulation. Just don't use the question mark. So if you set it to, because that'll just make a random choice. So if you set it to 0, sugar has no benefit, no effect. If you set it to 1, a person who gets the sugar, their score will go up by 1 because of the benefit of sugar. If you set it to 3, a person score will go up by 3 if they receive sugar. So you can set it to whatever you want it to be. And I said you can, in the directions, you can pick any number. So let's just pick 3 for our first simulation for the effect of sugar on memory. And now what you do is you click Generate, and what this will do is generate 6 recall scores, and each one is just the percentage correct on the recall test. So person 1 got 33% correct on the memorization recall test. And what each one of these represents is a score that the person will receive if they don't receive the sugar, if they end up going to the no sugar group. And that's why it says if no treatment is received. And each score is just generated based on these characteristics. So let's see. The reason why person 1 has such a low score of 33 is probably at least partly due to them getting 3 hours of sleep. Notice how person 1 has 3 hours of sleep up here. After clicking, well, first of all, like I said, make sure that this is set to 6 people. Then after that, set the effective treatment, the effective sugar, to anything you want. Click Generate to get these scores. And then after that, click Randomize. And what this will do is randomly assign these 6 people to 2 groups of 3, 3 and 3. And these 3 people will get the sugar, these 3 people won't get the sugar, and everyone will take the recall test and get a recall score as a percentage. And notice how if you set the effect to 3, that a person gains 3 points if they get the sugar. So notice how this person right here would be 33.18 if they didn't get the sugar. But since they did get the sugar treatment, it went up to 36.18. And let's see, then click Calculate. And then this will say the mean of the 3 people who got the sugar and the mean of the 3 people who didn't get the sugar. And it looks like this one is 44 and 39. They're about roughly 5 apart. And then click click show, and this will show it over here. And then what this will actually tell you now are the means of the two groups. So the 3 people who got the sugar had a mean score of 44, roughly. The mean 3 people who didn't get sugar had a mean of roughly 39. And it'll also tell you what the mean difference is, 4.78. So you get the mean difference by subtracting the mean of sugar by the mean of no sugar. Subtract this by this, and you get the difference right there. So like I said, this is the sugar mean, the no sugar mean is below it, and if you subtract them, you get the mean difference. And now what you can do is compare the mean difference to the actual true effect of the sugar and see how close they are. And if they're close together, that means that the mean difference is an accurate reflection of how effective the sugar actually is. So if the means were 3 apart, then that would mean that the mean difference perfectly reflects the benefit of sugar. But if it's not exactly 3, then the results are a little bit skewed. And when you do this simulation, the mean difference will be a little bit skewed. It'll be a little bit different than the treatment effect. It won't be perfectly accurate. And that's because these 2 groups that you've created, 3 and 3, aren't perfectly equal on these characteristics up here. Because remember, when you randomly assign people, there's going to be some differences between the groups due to chance. And that's why the difference is a little bit larger, a little bit different than just 3. So it might be that the no sugar group who got the mean of 39 maybe got 1 or 2 tired people, low hours of sleep, and that brought them down a little bit, and that made the difference bigger than 3 in performance. That could have happened. And now, what you need to do is this counts as your experiment 1. So what you do is go to in the activity Word doc, go to that table I provided for entering your results in part 3, and go to where it says experiment 1, and enter in the mean for sugar, which is 44.39, the mean for no sugar, which is 39.61. Enter in the treatment effect, which is the amount that sugar helps a person, which if you set it to 3, it's a 3. But if you set it to some other number, it's some other number. Enter the mean difference, and then also enter how much the mean difference was skewed by participant variables, meaning these traits you see at the top left. And in this case, for me, it was 1.78 because if you add the treatment effect of 3 plus the effect of the participant characteristics, 3 plus 1.78 is 4.78. And together they add up to the mean difference. So it's like 2 components to the mean difference. And actually, I want you to enter when I say contribution of participant variables right here, I want you to enter that where I say error, because I just wanted to give it a shorter title so I could save space in my Word document. But error means this very right column right here, contribution of participant variables. And then you're done with experiment 1. Now what you do is you click reset, and you do the same thing over again with 6 people, and that'll count as experiment 2, your second simulated experiment. So this time, once again, set the effect of treatment to something. Let's say I set it to 5. Once again, click generate. Once again, click randomize. Once again, click calculate. Don't worry about this longer decimal if that appears, it's just a bug. And then after that, click show, and it'll show it in here, and you have the information you need to fill in for experiment 2 in that second row of the table. And do this 8 times, and you'll get your 8 simulated experiments. So when you click reset and start again, you're now doing experiment 3. So let me actually do it one more time. Let's say 0, generate, randomize, calculate, show. Now I have the information for experiment 3. That's my next row in the table. And I said do this 8 times. And what I said is each time you do it, the 8 simulations, you can set the treatment effect to whatever you want, as long as you don't do the same number all 8 times. So pick a different number at least once. And after you do your 8 simulations, you are done with part 3. Then when you move on to part 4, what you do is set the number of participants to, let me reset, set it to 10, and then just do 8 simulations with it set to 10. And let's see, once again, pick whatever you want for the treatment effect. Click Generate, Randomize, Calculate, Show, and this information for experiment 1 under part 4. And click Reset, and you're now doing experiment 2 for part 4. And just do it 8 times, and all 8 times have 10 people in your experiment. After that, after these 8 simulations with a sample size of 10, you're done with part 4. And after that, you just do your follow-up answers in part 5, and you're done with the activity.